Wow.
You are easily pleased.
How good was that? Have you been up all night, Harry? Have you been up all night, mate?
Well, seeing as I stole it from the website we did, it didn't take very long at all. I see it's a bit jerky, so I think it's because I'm uploading it. I wonder if I stream it, if I put it on the internet somewhere. So anyway, that's another message. Mate, I haven't spoken to you for a week, have I? I know.
It's been a busy one this end, as ever. What have you been up to?
Well, I have been up to hedge trimming once a year, whether it needs it or not. And I have a neighbour next door who doesn't go on YouTube or anything, and I don't think they like me at all because their hedges are pristine, and they used to always arrange the gardener to come in at least once a week with the loudest hedge trimmer in the world. Well, normally set for my night shift.
Ah, yeah, always away, always away.
People don't understand, do they? That is the equivalent of me going round to someone's house. I mean, there's no moaning. It's just it's how it is.
I know.
Me going round to someone's house at 4 a.m. going, so yeah.
Well, to be fair, and sometimes we do. Sometimes we do go into people's houses at 4 a.m. and say, morning.
Yeah, normally we ask MPAS, the helicopter, to pop over. Can you hover over that house, please, for 10 minutes? They've been complaining about us again. No, we don't. We don't.
There are, you know as well as I do, there are stories that in the past, if there'd been a complaint, then they might use that road as a hard turn on the route to somewhere else. So I've heard, anyway.
Yes, yeah, I know. And do you know what? During our driving refresher courses, we'd have pursuits, right? What? We're going like that, doing the train. You've got an instructor next to you, and they'll go, "Okay, you can just switch everything off now."
Just do your impression of the siren again for me.
Whoa, and with a bit of woo. A bit of when the horns go a bit funny, he used to say, the instructor used to say, "Oh, can you switch everything off here for a minute?" And then everyone goes, and then they go right on again. And I said, "What was that all about?" We've just been getting complaints in that village for a while. So that's how it is. Welcome everyone. Everyone's joining us.
Excuse me for eating my toast. This is my breakfast. And of course, if I've got toast, it means I've got Finn.
Yes, it is. Ah, bless. Wait, does he get your last bit or your first bit, mate?
First, middle, last.
That clearly is why you're such a skinny man yourself, because you're clearly not getting enough toast. Yeah. Hey, what's the weather like in Devon? Lynn says. You're due down on the 5th of October. Well, welcome. It's always sunny here. I tell you what, I opened the back doors, I sat on the seat, got my shorts, and I saw a massive bank of cloud coming over, and it said it was gone for 24 hours, and now the sun's coming out, bursting through again. It's always sunny here in Devon and Cornwall. What I did want to say is, what time did you go to bed this morning then?
So they changed all my shifts this week to night shifts, which is fine. I like night shifts; they're brilliant. But like you just said, the rest of the world doesn't like you sleeping when you're on night. So I'm going into my 4th night shift. Deprived sleep all week, and so I was in bed by about 8 this morning.
Look at Finn! Yay!
So I was in bed by about 8, and the world woke me up about 3. About 10 minutes ago, I was still in my dressing gown.
I know. Did I wake you up? Oh, no, before. No, you didn't. Okay. Because I hadn't heard anything from you. Look, I was looking on Devon Air Ambulance, maybe really nice to a very good friend of mine, Nigel Lang. And if they trust us enough, they'll let us interview or have a nice little chat with Nigel Lang. Nigel Lang, I've known him for many years. He's a paramedic on the air ambulance, and I thought he'd be quite a useful man to have because, where they don't get themselves to help people and the adventures they've had aren't really worth knowing.
We'll look after him. We'll be nice, won't we?
Yeah, we will be very nice to him, and hopefully they can see by the other ones that we don't set him up for a fall or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, hopefully that will be like that. Hey mate, I've got something for you here. I just wanted to share. You got what?
Bags under my eyes.
Yeah, you're not looking pretty, mate. But in fairness, you do have an excuse. Oh, I don't know whether it's on here. Here we go. Look, I want to show you this. I found some footage 10 years ago of a certain little friend I know. All right, it's not yours. It's not yours, mate. It is.
Can you hear him singing in my ear, telling me, "Eat the toast. I want more toast."
All right. Well, sorry. I mean, I know you've only got one slice. That's just outrageous. Okay. Do you recognise this little chap here?
Oh my God! Look at him. How old is he there?
Is it Arthur?
Good boy.
How old
10 years ago. He was 14 weeks. Notice my decking that needs replacing and is since been replaced.
Boy. Good.
This was after a couple of hours off and on.
Arthur, stay. Good boy, stay. No, stay. Arthur, stay. Arthur, heel, and sit. Sit.
Oh,
Boy.
how are you?
Yeah.
Good boy. He's a good boy.
And then I go a bit
you
silly.
are a clever little boy, aren't you? You're a clever little boy. You are. You are.
Oh. Mate, that's
yes,
lovely.
mate.
You're waiting on firearms.
You boy. I know. I've heard a few dog handlers talking like that since. That high pitch. He's a good boy. Because I think they sort of answer more to the high pitches. It's not very macho, is it? But they don't sort of.
The sillier you sound, the more likely your dog is to listen to you. So
I know. The only thing is, I get worried because I think, I lost my other two dogs when they were 13 years old, and I just think, he's 10. Arthur, just hold. And you got Finn's 11. You say, is he? Oh, look at him. He's handsome.
11 and a half, mate. Yeah. So.
I wish I had it, actually. I've got the that really old dog. Did you see that on the internet? A former police dog. And I think it was like 13 or something. And he ran and he got the sleeve. And
yeah. Which force was that? I can't remember. It did make me smile.
I know, mate. I will try to find it. I did see this on Twitter. A few things on Twitter which I quite like. And this one was from a guy called Joe Tidy. Joe Tidy. He's a reporter, cyber reporter for the BBC. And if we just have a look at it, mate. See what you think. Do you see anything wrong with this?
Those kids are absolute legends.
It was, isn't it? It's.
He actually commented, didn't he? He posted. Joe Tidy.
He did post it. He did post, and I'll show you what he's actually written. Because he's got a good sense of humour, and he said it was only when he was in the editing room that he actually realised that there was something amiss here. So here you go. So he says, "Congratulations to the two lads who sneakily ruined my best piece to camera from a recent filming assignment in Germany." So that's German humour. Now that just shows.
Awesome.
German humour, unless they were British lads abroad. Honestly, I'm not even mad. This is inspired. Didn't even spot it until the edit. So yeah, that was pretty cool, really, wasn't it?
Really awesome, yeah.
I like that. There was one more thing to it that he wrote. He said, here we go. He goes, the internet really is marvelous. The two teen boys who pranked me have just contacted me on Instagram. to say sorry if we caused you any inconvenience. I told them, yes, you did, but you gave us a big laugh too. So fair play. I know, I like that. There's a nice bit of twittering, isn't it? Nice
I take it actually made the final cut.
I wonder because it would just bring a bit more. Oh look, oh yes.
Last bit, peanut butter. Sorry to everybody who's thinking, oh, I can't believe he's eating his breakfast in front of us. Well, I was asleep about half an hour ago.
I know, mate. I mean, we'll slowly let you wake up and just listen to the fine people up here who are just. Was it Kudo? I think it might have been Kudo. That rings a bell, mate. Hi, Dave, Finn, Wayne, Daisy, Caitlin, Coleman's dad here. Hello. And hope you both are keeping well. Just look after yourself and stay safe and keep up the good work. I tell you what, thank you very much for that. You know, in these, I'm a little bit concerned for everyone on this COVID. Talk to me about COVID. It's not looking good, is it? It's looking like there's another whack. And
yeah, they did say that it would come. I don't know whether they knew it was going to come this early. I'm sure they've always had contingencies in place, but it doesn't look very good at all at the moment. But
it doesn't. They're looking for potentially a 2-week, and I know all the scientists are pushing it for it earlier than later. They're looking for a 2-week. What do they call it? What do they call it actually?
It was like
a circuit breaker. A circuit breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I've got an idea. For people who were, for cops, medics, all that sort of thing, who, if their kids are at home, and then the wife is a key worker on a different shift, or vice versa, but it fits this.
Yeah.
Right. Well, this is an option. This has got an option for people. Dad challenges kids to draw him sleeping so he can have a nap. That's good, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got 3 kids, and I could see that picture, although I think it would include 2 of them, and the third, the youngest one, would still be jumping off the wardrobes and hanging off the light fittings and screaming and running around. She's a live wire, bless her. So, yeah, I think that would work for 2 of them, but the third one would still have to be locked in the cupboard.
Yeah. Yes. As long as you give them water and food in there, it's fine, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't say better.
Can we just make sure that's a joke, just in case anyone does a clip of that and says, Dave, the police officer says, yeah, we were, yeah, there's a few of me getting bitten by dogs and things, but nothing more favourite than me getting bitten by Finn on a chase. That was good. I like that. Hey, and I think because we were talking about it, Dominic Raab's bodyguard, gun on the seat, and I was just talking about this on another podcast, really, just saying to a lot of people. I mean, obviously, it's dangerous, even though you can blind someone with one of these. It does become quite familiar to you, and you've got to keep warning yourself and cautioning yourself that it's got to be 100% concentration all the time. And if, unfortunately, protection officers, because I did that for a fair bit, 15 years or whatever, and did all the royals. I mean, all the royals, and MPs and things like that. And I just remembered that you just had to be so careful. And I used to say, if I was in uniform, if I went to the loo, a cubicle type thing, I would put my holster with a belt on the door handle on the way out.
You can see it.
So I could see it, and I couldn't get out without picking it up, because I knew that if something happened or I got distracted, or it's just muscle memory,
isn't it, mate? Yeah, there must be something, and if we've got any psychologists on here, there must be something in the human, because it's not the first time it's happened. It's happened quite a number of times, not every day, but it's happened.
Yeah. But the other thing that I'll be careful of is these officers work long hours as well. So, and there is no other option. It is safe, and there are safeguards brought through, and but people are working long hours, and that's why I'll do a shout out for the protection teams that when they go abroad on long flights, the VIP might be first and business class. There's a really strong argument for the protection officers to get the same, because if you think about it, they have a flight like mine when I was coming back from Florida in the middle of the night. I was put in the middle of the crash, it seemed. There's no way that I could then do an 8-hour shift or 10, 12-hour shift when I got to my destination with my VIP, who's expected to come off the plane and go straight into the handshakes after a nice sleep. So even though I know they have a tough time sometimes by going, oh, why do you need first or business or whatever, then economy can be a little bit tight if you've been flying for 10 hours with screaming kids by you. But anyway,
I'm lucky, but if I go anywhere with work, I've got one of these, and it's very difficult to get off of a plane or walk out of a toilet and leave that behind, because it tends to follow you.
Yeah. No, exactly. It is. I bet. But though, have you been on a plane since without him? The last time, did you go over there?
No.
So this is the thing. It's going to be weird for you now, isn't it?
Yeah, very odd. Yeah.
Another animal, because you know how we are with animals and things. I know this is more cat related, but I wanted to share this one as well, because this is a good one. Hopefully the judge gave him time off as well. This is the one and only time. If it shows he has compassion.
Oh, dear.
Hilarious.
Have you ever Googled Florida man? Some of the simply put Florida man in Google search bar.
That sounds dangerous.
Stories that come up are absolutely hilarious. Some are a bit rude, but it's like this. I mean, I know lots of people that live in Florida, and it's a beautiful, beautiful state. But it's like there are people from another dimension that live in Florida. I'm sure of it.
Or America.
Florida man, you'll love it.
Sorry,
America.
Look, something similar. Yes, I mean we do. Tess. We do. I always do a phone, fags, keys, money check when I go out. Yeah, whenever I got off car seat or whatever, I always look behind me just to make sure my gun hadn't fallen out onto the seat.
I did go to work one day thinking, and I was walking to the bus stop. This is a long time ago. Thinking, I've got to do something. No, it's not the oven. The oven's not on. No, I can't think. And I got to the bus stop and realised I hadn't got the kids out of bed and taken them round to the mother-in-law's.
Well, the Prime Minister did that once in a pub, didn't he?
He did.
I mean, it's a media thing. So, but you can sort of understand when they live by nannies. Pretty much 100% of the time. They're both working parents, so to speak. You've got a nanny, and then you go, you relax a bit, and you forget that perhaps the nanny isn't there. And if you've got kids, we know, don't we? We look behind us. We look for them. We look behind them to see what they've dropped. And it is that thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Ursa, URSA is the dog, I believe. Thank you very much, Mick. That's good on you. But this is the best trick I found when I was. I saw this one, which I liked. If I lived near an airport like Heathrow, you want to write this on your roof, because this is in Minnesota, right? So he's welcome to Cleveland, although it isn't Cleveland. So he knows that so many people panic thinking they've taken the wrong aircraft. How cool is that? That's a sense of humour. You know that is going to be. That's going to be a broadcast on their airplane now every time they fly. And please ignore the world. Although my wife,
Hazel Milne, she said that she read a story about a dog handler that went into the water after a suspect, and after the dog got into trouble, the suspect turned round to help the dog.
Oh,
I love that.
And then I'd give him a 2-minute head start after that, depending on what it was. Wouldn't you? Let's say you're going to catch it anyway if it was 20 minutes, especially with Finn. No. But that's it. A Finn and Firearms calendar. Oh, right. Are we going to do? I don't think so. I have no pictures anymore. I live a solitary life, cutting hedges. I am doing other stuff, to be honest, which I'm so busy. Harry, so I don't know how you have time to go to work, mate.
I could see a calendar. I know, tell me about it. I could see a calendar of you, thinking.
I was going to do a naked one. I'll do a thinking one instead.
No, I'm fine with that. There might be some people on here who would like that.
Yeah.
Imagine it.
Well, or hey, I've got a good idea. They pay to stop me putting out a naked one.
Yes. Boom. That's the one.
Boom.
Did you see? I can't remember who shared it. It might have been John Sutherland, which is a good police account.
Yeah.
Javid Javid put a post on Twitter about his brother, who's a Met commander as Javid. Sajid Javid, the Home Secretary, said, "This is my brother mingling with the Home Secretary," and it's a lovely picture of them walking down a London high street. And his brother commented, "It most certainly is, and she has a far more personality than her predecessor." And Savage replied, "I'm telling Mum." That was hilarious.
That's great. That's great, mate. We need to shout out to HMS Medway as well. HMS Medway has just made, so you make some pretty big drugs busts, don't you, mate?
Sometimes.
Hey, you do. Well, this was this one here, mate, 81 million quid's worth. And it reminded me, actually, of when my brother was in the Navy. Shout out to Gavin Tanguy, who is now a teacher in Norway. He's been there for years as a teacher in Norway, just done PhDs and all that. Why do they do all these degrees when they're old? I can say that he's older than me. So, but this one here, good one on these guys, because along with the American Coast Guards and whatever, they've just taken 81 million quid out of the system. Well, my brother, when he was in the Navy, he was on, it's not observations, was it? We were actually looking out for stuff, looking out for ships and things. Yeah. And you used to get shot or hung, didn't you, if you fell asleep on watch? That's it, on watch. Well, he certainly wasn't on watch, but there was a little fishing boat that they missed. And when I say they missed it, they hit it, but it was full of drugs. So they didn't know, but it was full of drugs. So it was a big deal. Yeah, I know. They were like, all their press photographs looked a little bit sheepish, because it was by pure luck that they'd run this thing over. But I think because it probably had no lights on and it was like avoiding, I thought they'd have had things like radar. But it was a long time ago now, But yeah, that if you want to run over something, that's it. Walk the plank, Mick says, walk the plank. I don't think they do that anymore, mate. I know. Oh, fog watch. Is that what it was? Well, I suppose, but they do watch other than fog, don't they? That's it. What the plank would be a cracking, or when they drag you under the keel. That's a good one.
Hey?
Yeah, because all the barnacles on the bottom of a wooden ship in the old days, they used to tie a thing to your legs and somehow get the other side to the thing, and then they drag you by your legs and arms, and then they drag you round over the barnacles underneath the ship.
Oh my goodness.
But I think that finished in 1980 or something. No, I think that was a long time ago. In the 17th something, no doubt. But
when you first joined the police?
Yes, I know. It is weird, man. I haven't got used to this yet. I haven't got used to this. Like just going to bed when it's dark and waking up when it's light. And then I have a routine. So I am doing things, doing a bit of writing and things.
Oh, you're writing now?
Yeah, nothing special, but maybe not. And so that's keeping me a bit busy, mate. And then podcasts are keeping quite busy. And then
your other YouTube channel's doing really well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I'm going to do another one on that YouTube channel because I think the names. The jet pilot. Terrible with names. I do apologise. I'll grab his name in a minute. But he does really good YouTube, and he does things where he explains, because he's out now, and he explains what they actually do when a jet goes low flying and how they train it and what the instruments are and things. So if you're at all interested in that, so I thought I'm going to do one on pursuits. I think a little bit like the one last time. Yeah. Little videos explaining a little bit more than perhaps on the front. Tim Davies, thank you so much. Thank you. I was going to try to pronounce that. Ramuzzo. Thank you, Tim Davies. What a gentleman. If you don't follow him on YouTube, if you don't follow YouTube, get onto YouTube for goodness sake, and subscribe to us. Frontline Chat. Subscribe to Dave and me. Get our numbers up because we're low at the moment because we just started it. But it is just a brilliant format. I get all my news from there now. I don't listen to the BBC, hardly much of Sky or whatever. I only watch the BBC for anything that Nick Knowles does because he's a hero of mine. And I'll pay my fee just for that, for DIY SOS and stuff. Yeah, so that's how it is at the moment. HMS Invincible. What's this one, Dave? He was told to stand on the ski ramp with a mug. When it filled with fog, he was told to radio the bridge to say it was full. See, that's John from Newquay, my very good friend.
You see the other one near the bottom, Alex. The fog collection. We once had a guy fill 10 Tupperware with fog samples.
I know Newquay Police Station used to send the probationers down to the boating lake for the annual duck count. So
you're a bit allowed to get away with that sort of thing these days, surely.
Oh well, and do you remember what school ones do you have? The art teacher used to send them around to the other classroom to go and find some rainbow paint. Can we borrow some rainbow paint and that stuff? So I suppose in art was the only time you had time to do that sort of thing. I bet that you will get a lot more coming up now.
Yeah. People are joining in.
Oh, controversial. Off-road bikes. I think sniper rifles, personally. I tell you what, rules regarding chasing them. I mean, basically, I think it's 15 meters or 15 yards away from the public road onto common land is basically an offence with any vehicle. So anything but being parked on the side of it whilst watching or, breaking down or whatever. Yeah, we have some around here in Torbay, and I do sometimes. My little devil thinks, I wish I had a sniper's rifle with a sleeping dose of thing in it. Yeah, so I recovered that one, Dave. Because it is infuriating, and yet the police do have better things to do, unfortunately. But it is so annoying. You hear this? Wah!
Yeah, up here they do have special ops every summer, but it's there's extra equipment they have to buy. They have quad bikes and off-road bikes themselves to try and catch up with them, and it's a huge annoyance to the people who live nearby. I used to be a neighbourhood police officer for an area that had a place where it always happened, and I got how annoying it was. Oh,
yeah, apologies.
But yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's finding the right time, getting the right resources into place. You hit it hard once, twice a year in the hope that it goes away for a little while. But
I mean, we have trouble with there's so many access points to the areas that to catch them is quite tricky. And then, like you say, you need to have enough officers to do it. So it's got to be a almost epidemic situation where here it's whenever the sun came out, all the locals around here, literally tens of thousands of people around would all their nice sunny day in the garden would be like that all the time. Oh, yeah. So I actually went up and saw them once when I was still a cop. Yeah, I did. I went up there and I thought, I'm going to get ready for a fight here because you don't know what reply you're going to get. And I thought, I haven't had a fight for a while. And so the thing is, I thought, well, whilst I'm still a copper, I will. And I did the old copper off duty bit. And I went up there and I was like, nice as pie to them. I said, you right? And they, yeah. It was a real big group of them. There was even a pregnant girl there, very pregnant. And there was a few rough lads there and a few, and they had their off-ride motorbikes. I said, well, I should have got you a decent bike because I got a ZZR 1200. Oh, yeah, nice one. I said, well, you see all those people around there, they're and it's completely illegal. And the cop's going to come up here and they can seize your bike and you'll never get them back again, because you've got no insurance, you've got no this, that, and the other. Yeah, well, that. And then he went, oh, yeah, well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm sorry. I said, because I didn't tell him I was a copper there. I said, I'm sorry, I think you've misunderstood my politeness as a weakness. Could I actually introduce myself and that I will be coming here next time to seize your bikes?
Oh,
and they were like, all right. And I went, I did the old, shall we start again? Shall we have a little, chat? You need to find somewhere private field with blah, blah, blah. And I didn't hear from them for ages. And then they turned up again, but they've gone quiet again. But it is very annoying. So, you just know when the sun comes out, it's going to come. Yeah, it's just noise pollution. But now I'm at the police, that's all I have to worry about. Not like you, Dave, like your life every day.
No, I've got one night shift to go tonight. I love working nights, but hopefully it'll be busy. Last night it died at about 3:30, and then it's a struggle because you've been busy and you're tired and you've had no sleep, and then all of a sudden it completely dies a death, and then you're struggling to stay awake. 4 a.m. 2 p.m. and 4 a.m. isn't it? Your body has this massive lull and wants to go and recover.
I found if 2:30 I got really hungry, so I'd have dinner if I wasn't doing stuff, and then you needed a job that would just, like, if you had a drink driver or something, for me that would just break the back of it then, and then it would just finish nicely for like 5:30, get back, sorted. The night would have flown by then. That was good.
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah, Ethan's joined us live. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. Nice to have you here live. Oh, Mr. Ascora. Oh, my goodness. Metalwork teacher, Mr. Ascora, Harry, told me to get a bag of sparks for the grinder. Nice one. He was a fearful man, wasn't he, John? He was a no-nonsense metalwork teacher. Taught us how to make knives and stuff. No, he didn't. He was quite fearsome, but I can't even remember what we made. John, what did we make in there? Okay, who's had this then? Work experienced person who could not behave to be, so he sent them to get a left-handed hammer. They're all the best ones.
Yeah, someone mentioned sky hooks earlier.
Sky hooks, yeah. Good days. The trouble is, you can mention things like a tape deck now, and they won't know what it is, would they?
Yeah,
so, but yeah, it's pretty stuff. And the other thing, I don't know. And the other thing, I was looking, because this is when I'm not busy, I do silly things. And I looked up, voted, just because I was worried that I was going to be the world's dullest man, right?
Yeah.
And he's been voted the world's dullest man, but he's actually, he's, when they publish a calendar on stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
have you got ideas for your own off of this man, have you?
Yeah, I like his sideways thinking. Outsideways thinking, that's not what you do, is it? The internet is slow again today. My son is probably on his speedy thing. Yeah. I told him not to, what they're like now. Okay, here we go. This is my next calendar I'm putting out.
Oh, look at that. Now you're talking.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have seen some similar. He's now doing one on roundabouts. I just do not. And I bet you there's enough geeks out there who will go for that.
Oh yeah. Well, we in Letchworth Garden City, not far from here in Hertfordshire, we've got the first roundabout. I wonder if that features in his calendar.
Mate, I remember we had the first double mini roundabout in Bodmin. Wow. That was in Cornwall. That was the first time in Cornwall, and I was doing my driving test, and I could opt for Truro or Bodmin, and I opted for Truro because I did not want the complicated double mini roundabout. and I literally, it's still there. Still there.
It was brilliant.
And I had a little chuckle on it as I drive across it, just straight across it on a blue light run now. No, I don't actually. I didn't do that either. One's got a torch and told us to charge the emergency lights. Always a good one. Yeah. And tartan paint, skirting board ladders. Now, this subject here, you have just found my phobia.
Yeah, I couldn't do that either.
Not a chance,
Yeah.
Stephanie. Not a chance, Stephanie.
I couldn't be a fireman or whatever the officer because of the
Firefighter.
firefighters. Because of the confined stuff that they do. You have to do tests for it, don't you? I just couldn't do it. I can't even be in a sleeping bag if it's too tight, or
no.
If you turn in the night and it gets tighter. No, I'd be panicked. I'd be out.
It's one of those things where if it was like, well, you've got to do it to pass the course, and I think it depends. I could go in the assault courses where there's a pipe, and I know it's very soon arriving.
Right.
But if it's like to go through a little channel and restart,
have you seen those insane videos where they're I've got to take my glasses off for this. Where literally they're pushing through cave bits, like, and they're going ways, and then
they take their oxygen off
to get through. And how is that fun?
They take their oxygen off, mate, and they push it in front of them, and then because they can't fit in with it on their back.
How is that fun?
I know. No.
And they have to pull their shoulders in, but it's so tight they literally have to wriggle through. It's not fun. It's horrible.
It is horrible, and I put it down to my brothers sitting on me when I was a kid, and I'm saying, and I'm shouting, and you're trapped and you can't get out. I was going to say something which would have a completely inappropriate meaning now, so I can't. But yeah, as a kid, when they lock you in places and things. Yeah, nice brothers. Yeah,
no, not for me.
No, mate. But how's your week been generally? What have you been up to?
I don't know what day it is.
I thought it was Friday today. That's why I thought I had another day to prepare a guest. We're on the petering of a couple of guests, right?
Yeah.
One hasn't got Wi-Fi, so he can't do it.
Yeah.
And that's a good one. And I've got another one that's probably for the 10th, their ambulance, hopefully for the 10th. But go on, mate. I interrupted it again.
Yeah, no, mate. It's just been work. Lots of charity stuff, lots of amazing charity stuff, which I can't tell you yet, and I really want to tell the world.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be amazing. The support network we're going to put around these retired and serving police dogs is going to be well beaten. There's no charity in the world that are doing what we plan to do, so I can't wait to tell you all. It's all
so that's Thin Blue Paw. So bloody amazing. I saw a podcast of yours recently. Who was that? And they donated you £1,000. I stuck it on my Twitter account.
Thank you, mate. A very good friend of ours called Jill, who's the boss of Future Life Wealth up to north, up in Sheffield area. But she's been incredibly supportive over the years for the Finn's Law Part 2, and now she's helping us with the Thin Blue Paw Foundation, and she's such a lovely person. But it just goes to show there are some amazing people out there, and the donations we've had coming in are just mind-boggling. It really gets you every time. Whether it's £1, £5, £500, it's just absolutely incredible. These animals are amazing.
You seem to be doing pretty well on it, on getting that. We've been going live for quite a while. It's just Peter, Pete, our YouTube we started quite recently. It was on mine, but I needed to separate it, so I've made it specifically because on my personal one I discussed some topics that could be construed as quite controversial. I think I'm always appropriate on there and things, and but that one's quite good as well. But this one, Frontline.
Pete's a good guy. He could tell some stories, but probably not until he's retired.
Good. Well, this is good. We need, because it would be quite useful looking for some retired cops, but I have got one who's really keen to join us, and that is a retired ACC who now works in security and fraud and that side of things. So I thought that'll be the balance of that would be quite useful, and he was always very big on Twitter beforehand as well.
When are we going to have the Devon and Cornwall recruits back? When are we going to have those?
Oh, yeah. Well, they've just the two girls, Fiona and Nicola, was it? Yeah. I've got in touch with them again, and I will go through the boss again just in case they've had a change of mind. But they were really pleased with having two recruits two young women who have gone through the system in Devon and Cornwall and have passed out as well. So what I thought it'd be good if we could just leave them for a little bit to fester in the training side of things when they're out on the street for a bit, so they can come back with a few tales there as well. Because it's nice to get that really first impression view and what they learned so quickly, what perhaps surprised them a little bit, maybe, if anything did. And
taking it out of a textbook and putting it into real life is always quite a...
Yeah. Was it actually... See, I think it's less so of forget everything they taught you, because it's not all learned in a textbook. It's very much out on the street as well. So I think it would be really useful to have them back, but I just think it would be useful to just leave it another couple of months, really. And I think we'll get the best from it.
I've been going to lots of jobs recently, and there's been lots of new officers, all fantastic and all keen as mustard. And you can see some of them, it's the first time a dog's actually arrived at their job and got out. And for some people, it's the first time the dog's got a result, and they're all full of questions and they want to know more and they want to stroke your dog. No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, that was good. Yes, yeah, there's a lot. There's having a good old conversation on the side here with Mick Bland is usually at the beginning of these. Mick Bland. See, we should perhaps have Nick on here, because he was a retired dog handler from quite some time ago now. So it'd be quite useful to have a good flavour of what it was like back then, and policing. That would be, or maybe slightly worrying, but but that's the thing. Because what you see on Twitter and you go, not the 70s. I think I've said it myself, I confess. Well, it's not the 70s. And you meet some cops from the 70s era and they're like, no, we weren't like that. There were a few like that, but there was, and I didn't know, I knew they didn't have the Policing Criminal Evidence Act. If they left people in custody for too long, it was usually because they forgot they put them there. I did hear stories of that, where they'd nick someone on a Friday and they'd suddenly realised by the Monday morning that they were still there in custody. They hadn't actually done anything with them. So it's like, and then these were tricks of the past. They used to go in with a white coat. This is like eons ago, honestly, right? They used to go in with a white coat and pretend they were the doctor and get the confession out of the subject. But then you could argue, well, it was legitimate.
People, that was a long
time ago, before even the 70s, and it probably only happened once, and it probably didn't happen, but it's a good story. But yeah. But at least they weren't stitching them up. At least they were just not using. Paste didn't exist then, so at least they thought, well, we got the truth out of them in the end.
Yeah.
Just realised who they were speaking to. Yeah, we do not condone that. Finn. Oh no, this is not Finn.
Maxie. This is Finn's girlfriend. She's lovely. She loves cuddles.
Look at that, Maxie. Yeah. See, Maxie, when I visited you not so long ago, Maxie attacked me into the door and basically dragged me out onto the street.
She does like people she doesn't know to know that she is in charge. And then once you're a friend, she's the cuddliest monster in the world. But I wouldn't like to break in with Maxie here.
No, well, she soon was my best friend, I think, or near to it. Or she tolerated me anyway, because I was soon doing what you're doing to her there, basically.
Yeah, she's lovely, bless her. Yeah.
This is. Oops, not that. There we go. About 23 years ago, Mick, Harry, that I came off dogs. One of the worst days of my life. You're not looking forward to that, I take it, Dave?
No, mate, no. Well, so someone said on here, why don't you interview new dog handlers? And if we could find a force that would be up for it, that would be brilliant. I think you could have, me and Gareth or someone asking these newbies questions, or them asking us questions even.
Yeah.
It's a job like no other, dog handling. It's, as Mick,
I know. I think
Gareth will tell you, it's just, it's one of those things where it really is a way of life, because it affects every aspect of your life, but it's so rewarding if you put the effort in.
Yeah, I know. I must say it's one of my frustrated things. I wish I could have 2 lifetimes, and then I'd have definitely wanted to do dogs. But you always get slightly nervous when you think, actually, it is your whole life.
Yeah.
It's home, work, and it's big poos as well. I only have to deal with little poos. So.
Oh, dear. Thanks for that input. But again, I always say this: in winter, when your hands are frozen, you are very grateful for those big poos. They are brilliant.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's spoken like a true dog handler.
Yeah. Am I retiring? I don't know. I think I've got about another 128 years to go. So not for a while yet.
See, this was the one. I wasn't going to be so mean to you with that last one, but so yeah, I think. But yeah, you're right. Even though you look old and knackered, you've got ages to go. Haven't you?
Yeah.
So, it was down to Chief Constable Keith Helliwell bringing tenure. So that's just. I wonder how I'd love to know how long the tenure was. See, this is why we need Mick on here.
The tenure was one dog, I think. Which is ridiculous because you've just learnt your craft.
Do you think he probably wasn't a dog owner? He probably.
Yeah, there are some incredible chiefs out there who really understand the dog section. Think of Nick Adley and Rachel Swan in Derbyshire and chiefs like that really understand. But every now and then you'll get a chief that doesn't get it or aren't being. I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about in the past, of course, who aren't getting fed the right information. And the amount of jobs I've had, and other dog handlers will be able to resonate with this, where you've got an amazing result, and you wouldn't have found whatever it is, the person, the thing, the gun, the drugs, or whatever, if the dog hadn't been there. And yet, at the briefing the following morning, that's the one key thing that's left out, and everyone's praising the local officer, and local officers are brilliant. What an amazing job the local officers did, and there's no mention of the fact that it was the dog that found them. And I think sometimes the system is guilty of not telling the story correctly, and so
this is why Twitter is so important, because one of the reasons I did it is so that the bosses could see what the armed response were doing, because I could see them going into tasking meetings and things. And of course, they're not going to have an armed response boss there. You would have one that incorporated armed response with other people, and they wouldn't really know what the dogs are doing, for example, or what farms doing at 3 or 4 in the morning. And when they're in these meetings, they get a big feedback from what the response officers are doing, the phenomenal job that they do, and maybe traffic and that side of things. But so it was really just to make sure. And when I remember when I was getting likes and retweets or something, for mostly likes from the deputy chief and ACCs and stuff like that, you realize, that's brilliant, because they wouldn't have got to know about that otherwise.
No.
So it's just so important, especially when Devon and Cornwall were really cracking about dogs, because they kept their dogs level. They didn't reduce them. And generally, on average, nationally, they were reduced by 50%, which was devastating across the country. So.
Yeah, I remember one job where Finn and I found 5 offenders that had been plaguing the Met, Essex, and Hertfordshire, and Finn found the evidence that was vital. So he found them, he found the evidence that they'd gone to extreme measures to get rid of. And when Gemma was walking through the corridors the following morning, she heard and obviously I told Gemma what had happened. She heard the chief officer saying, I had an amazing result by local officers last night. Absolutely fantastic. They got 5 in the bin. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to stop you there. Yeah. It was the dog handler that found the 5 and all the evidence. And he was like, no, it was locals. The dog wasn't called. She was like, no, it was my husband. And he was very apologetic, and he called us in for commendation and stuff like that. But
see, that's it. They don't necessarily get to know it.
That's it. If we don't sing our praises, then sometimes it doesn't get heard of. And then, these dogs are amazing.
And the problem is, and whether it was complete just lack of thinking or just ignorance, or they just wanted to make them big themselves up a little bit, it backfires every single time. And I would always, if these people actually learn that if you actually say, response was brilliant last night, ARV's made an arrest with so-and-so, response did a hell of a lot of work to achieve the result, then response think the ARVs are great.
Yeah, it's a team effort, I know that.
But then the bosses think, well, the ARVs are good because they brought the response in, and so on and so forth. So it really does work. Notts police, I won't ask Dave to comment on this, but yeah, Notts police are the latest ones to look like they are or reducing the individual accounts and things. Essex they've done it. It's because it's confusing the public and they don't know this, that and the other. It's such a shame. But it is, my view, it is to reduce the workload on corporate comms and the complaints, because you'll always get people complaining even though there's nothing to complain about. So I say they really need to deal with them. They have to sort it, but there isn't the stomach behind it. There's not to sort out a much quicker way of dealing with complaints about Twitter when they clearly there's nothing to complain about. But there we go. So Notts was the latest one. Well, we've been waiting for you all this time, Christine. You've let us down. I was watching
attention at the end.
Forming the police in Scotland, they were doing drill. Do the police still do drill? Very important point, because in Devon and Cornwall, since the going into the the degree side of things, which I was very much against about, because I was against, because I knew I wouldn't have got in and that side of things. But Devon and Cornwall, I've spoken to an ALV officer who is just finishing off his last 5 years, I think it is, in training, and he is saying that they're getting really good results from it. But the one thing they put their foot down on, the degree people wanted to get rid of the marching. They probably thought it was all military and aggressive more, and they won through, because it's all a lot more to do than being military and aggressive. It's actually pride of appearance, it's working together as a team, but it's a really important, crucial bit. And it's a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment when they get it right, and it's nice for the passing out parade as well.
Yeah.
And I know there's restrictions on finance and things, but it is a shame that a lot of forces don't do tunics and things like that for court. We've moved on, unfortunately. Those days are gone. But when you have a scruffy fleece and a cap, it's a bit of a shame. But we can't hark back, different times.
I do remember those first times trying to get the arms opposite to the leg, and it wouldn't work, and you'd go the arm with the same leg, and it just.
Were you a TikToker?
Yeah, well, no, I got it. I did it all right in the end, but yeah, you can walk in a straight line until someone asks you to walk in a straight line, and then it all goes. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, there was one, Stuart. I won't name you properly, fully, but he became a superintendent or chief superintendent. Lovely, lovely guy. And he would TikTok for England. He could not get it right.
Oh, put that up, Jackie Gilbert. First morning at training school in 1975. We had to march to Monty Python without laughing. I love that.
Oh, brilliant.
Brilliant.
That's great. Someone said I forgot my razor. I am gonna cut it.
Oh yeah, I had a shave just before I came on. I thought I better do, otherwise someone will call me a scruff bag, and you got called it.
Yeah, I am. This is it.
He's tired now. He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
I honestly am busy as anything. I must say I love YouTube, but I'm trying not to OD on it. My wife's on TikTok, that thing, which I'm not even going to start looking at, because I know I'll spend my life on it.
It is ridiculously addictive.
Yeah, that's why I'm not touching it, not going there. We can't believe the best. Could believe the best 10 weeks of my life. Passing out parade was brilliant, fantastic. Raised my issues.
It's a lovely thing, isn't it? Passing out is a lovely thing for your family. I remember my mum, bless her, she wasn't very well towards the end of her life, and she managed to get the energy to come to the passing out parade, and she was very proud, bless her. And it's a lovely thing to be part of.
It is, and especially as most parents, if you're young joining, or even your kids if you're older joining, it's the first time they'll have seen you properly in a uniform and working and suddenly looking like the police. I remember very recently seeing my nephew Harry passing out in the army, and it was just before it all kicked off, and they're marching, and I suddenly realized that Jesus, he'd grown up, and he was a proper soldier guy, and he sort of knew what he was doing. So yeah, it'd be such a shame to have a boss stand up at the front of the classroom and give you a certificate. That would be just shocking, because it would feel, yet again, it would feel just like, you know, a very temporary job. Well done, you've passed your exam. But then maybe policing's getting that way a little bit more. I don't know. Is it? Do you think, Dave?
I think it felt like the aim when a certain prime minister was in power, that the government at the time didn't want career cops. They wanted 5-10-year cops.
Yeah.
The thing then, Pete, Harry would definitely get into trouble on TikTok. I think they went through a phase, and I guess I see why, because, I mean, you come out of it unscathed, Harry, but policing can put enormous strains on every aspect of your life: your mental health, your physical health, your relationships, your family, your friends. And I think, you know, if you can get in and get out within the first 10 years, you'll probably come out relatively unscathed. Don't let me put anybody off going into the police, because it's incredible. But, you know, from a government's point of view, I bet they did an enormous amount of research and realised, actually, if we get rid of them after 10 years, then we don't have to deal with all that crap as they get older into their 20, 30-year period.
Yeah.
Mad.
And then they won't argue. They'll just do as we tell them.
Exactly.
And
it's not have to give them a massive pension either, because, Harry, I mean, you make it look like you live in a normal house in Devon, but actually you live in a castle because of your pension.
I do, but in fairness, for a small broom cupboard in the centre of London, you can buy a huge manor house with 100 acres in Devon. So it's true. Yeah, no, that's how I just get fit on COVID, just run around my castle. It's just, you know.
So yeah, I do think at one stage, and I don't know whether it was the case or not, it just felt like it, that, and this is a while ago now, 10, 12 years ago, the government, I think, didn't want us to do 30 years any longer.
Stephanie, take no for an answer, okay? That's
definitely.
Never, ever going to happen. You would have two blubbing grown men pleading for their mummies, you know, and no, that's the one thing.
You know, when you put a jumper on and it all goes wrong and you can't get out, I hate that. That will send me into a panic.
Oh yeah. Or somebody has tied the neck or something. So yeah, you're going and you can't get your hands through the sleeves because they tied a knot in the end of the sleeves. I know you would say. So yeah. How do you recognise lots of people in the police series about Devon? And this was really interesting. I'll just perhaps finish it quickly on this one. Call the Cops. It's Devon and Cornwall series. There's a couple of full series now, and I was really impressed with it. Really well produced, really well put together, and it just shows that there's nowhere. In Devon and Cornwall get less gun crime side of things, but you'll see how people are still. There's Katie, I think, was on there, and Chris. Chris had been in for 3 days. 3 days, and he was in patrol. And I was so impressed with where he was a passenger in a pursuit, and the way he was level-headed. And it just shows, and he said it was just brilliant, the way the training actually worked. It made him feel confident. He was on the radio, and he was a mature guy, unless he was a really young and very young with grey hair like you, Dave. But and then Katie, I did know her in Exeter, and she is the size of a small hamster. However, the heart of an absolute lion, and the way she dealt with these aggressive yobs. Well, I think they were actually from the army, but one of them had literally just lamped some poor stranger and knocked him unconscious. And it was some time before backup came, and she was there with her crewmate, and they were taking charge and it was just that confidence. It was like, no, you stay there and all that, and I consider it danger. And that's in Devon. That was Exeter in Devon, and it's no different. And from the rest of London have much more serious crimes, but they have a bit more backup.
Oh, mate, I went to a job in Tottenham a few months ago, and I mean, ridiculously, the bloke crashed opposite Tottenham Nick. And I kid you not, they must have turned out 35 officers.
Yeah. You're right. It's good to see. It is good to see that, because the blooming well need it, especially as they're unarmed, and a lot of them haven't got tasers, and they're basically taking fists to a gunfight. So yeah, it is.
the Met do throw officers at jobs, and like you say, they have to. But you know, you couldn't dream of that response in Devon, and we couldn't dream of that in BT.
No, I remember I was the only officer with 60 square miles when I joined 30 years ago around Dawlish, and I remember driving into a rave and just drove into it. I couldn't get back. I went for reverse, thought there was masses of crowd around me, and I went, oh, I found the rave. Because they were trying to figure out where it was. So I thought I'd go for high ground, Manhead, just wooded area. And then I selected reverse, and they'd all closed in behind. And I managed to get out and persuade with the ringleader, you know, I'd say I'd have a race with him. And my car was absolutely smashed to pieces. I was looking for the trees, saying, well, my only chance is to run for those trees and have the darkness just cover me, you know. But it was just my gob that got me out of it by acting like a stupid county cop, you know, a county cop. It was like,
well, your gob gets you into trouble, but it also gets you out of trouble as well.
Yeah, but looking back, it's trouble that I'm relatively proud of, really, I think. Yeah. But yeah, so Call the Cops. You can watch it on that thing where you go back on the internet and catch up and stuff like that. It's really good. Really good. Channel 4, I think it was. Mate, that's it.
It is. I'm going back to bed.
Mate, go back to bed. Really.
I got up. Yeah. I hope it was worth it. Feel sorry for me.
Mate, I appreciate it. And thanks ever so much for everyone coming. It is really appreciated. And we'll just say goodbye to you all. It's really appreciated.
Goodbye.
Hey. It's good, isn't it, Dave? They can't hear you and me, but this is good, isn't it?
It's amazing, mate. Love it.